Hey, how's it going, everybody? Alright, so me and my buddy Justin, we are about to embark on what I would classify as a cinematic adventure. I've got my sweet and salty popcorn, I've got my can of Monster, and I'm going to need these things to get through Cool as Ice. Because, welcome to the first installment of...
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Drop that zero and get with the heat.
Alright, stop.
Collaborate and
Listen.
welcome to the first Trashy Treasure segment, where I'm going to be reviewing movies that are so bad they're awesome. I'm a really big fan of these kind of movies, and today we're kicking it off with Cool as Ice. So this was released in 1991, where 2 months after its 25th anniversary, and it was directed by David Kellogg. It stars Robert Van Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice, and Kristen Minter, and it is essentially about we're going back to a time when Vanilla Ice was actually a big deal. You know, he was really popular. Believe it or not, we live in a world where that happened. And this is essentially a 90-minute music video for Vanilla Ice with a plot that was so thin it has invented new types of anorexia. So what we've got is a group of macho bikers, which is Vanilla Ice and his homeboys, which...
All three of them.
And none of them are white, because, you know, Vanilla's got to tap into that audience. So they ride into town. One of them, their motorbike breaks down, so they're stranded there. In the meantime, Vanilla falls in love with this girl who somehow finds something about him attractive. So she ditches her boyfriend to be with him. In the meantime, her family are in this witness protection program, and the gangsters come after them, and Vanilla's got to save the day. Spoiler alert, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
There are very few words to describe this movie. I'm going to go with a few. Piece of shit, detestable, bad. There is so much not to like about this movie. I mean... I can't even get the words out. It's so bad.
It's so bad, it's good. Look, oh God, where do you start? The script, okay. The script for this thing was written in an hour, it seems. Like I said, the plot was so thin, so full of cliches. You know what is going to happen.
With wonderful bits of bad dialogue like this.
Where you going? Across the street to, Sling a Schlong.
And this.
Soon, kid, soon.
As soon as you're done making sex? Tommy, get out of here! That's not funny!
Actually, there was always a part where he said this.
Oh yeah, cat. Words of wisdom. Drop that zero and get with the hero. Excuse me?
And then there was also the part that at the beginning when, of course, she's riding the horse in slow motion.
Driving a horse.
Driving a horse, that's right, because he talks to about driving a horse like this.
You know, the chick who drives the horse.
So the script was absolutely terrible. The cinematography, I'm going to let Justin talk about this because he's more of the cinematography ilk, but yeah, God, it was atrocious. The camera, they went for these Dutch angles quite often, which were just really off-putting. The lighting was horrible, and there were just so many moments I was sitting there audibly exclaiming why at the screen, because there's just so many things that happen in this movie for no reason whatsoever. But you know, in hindsight, they're so awesome. I'm glad that these things happen because it's such a mess.
So there's this scene or montage, because we're going to need one, where they are getting closer together, and there's nothing says, you know, I love you more than getting to know somebody at a construction site, chasing someone in slow motion around the construction site while it's being built. It's frankly trespassing, but there's no better romantic setting than that. And there's even one scene again where he's trying to learn how to ride a horse or drive a horse, and you know it's a bad film when even the horse is running away saying fuck this shit. Now, what I'm going to say about the cinematography of it and how it was shot, etc., by no means am I trying to diss the people in question, because they've gone on to have fantastic careers in their own right. For example, director of photography on this film was Janusz Kaminski, who has, in the last few years, has shot a large portion of Steven Spielberg's films. So anyone can admit you've got to do the bad stuff before you have the opportunity to do the good stuff. So I'm not disrespecting him in any way whatsoever. What I am disrespecting is the amount of work that was put into it. Basically, there was one scene in particular, even if you want to call it a scene, because anything with Vanilla Ice in it is not a fucking scene at all. I don't know what the fuck it is. But anyway, he's getting off his bike, horse, whatever, and walking her to the front door of their rich, posh picket fence house. It's a side tracking shot that just runs along a dolly. So they're walking along this pathway. He's opening the gate for her. She's coming through. She's so easy to sweep off her feet. Just open a gate and she's anyone's. And walking her up to the front door, and there's just this single beam of light that's coming from nowhere else but clearly the opposite side of the road. That must have been like a massive, massive glow, because it's hard to explain except to say that one light's lighting everything. And anyway, this scene progresses, and Father and Ice, don't even know his character's name. That's how little. Johnny, there you go. Johnny Ice, we're going to call him. So anyway, Dad and Johnny Ice are having this conversation. Tells him to stay away from his daughter because he's so got the wrong idea about him because he's such a beautiful person. And the way they must have just been they can't have been looking into the light, because they just would have been blinded. So anyway, the shot continues back. He's just getting more and more overexposed from looking into this light, and he just mopes on his bike. And it's just, a lot of scenes like that are just lit with one little light altogether. And
you can just imagine Spielberg's like, "So, Janusz, what have you worked at?" "Oh, you worked with Vanilla Ice. Oh. You're hired."
That must have been an arduous 3 days.
Another thing, like the performances in this thing, oh my god, they ranged from completely phoned in. I mean, Michael Gross from Family Ties just gave the laziest performance. I mean, he just had the same expression on his face through the whole thing, whether he was happy or angry or, agitated, anything. He was just so lazy. It ranged from phoned-in performances to completely over the top that were enhanced with really bad cartoon sound effects like this.
I'm gonna get me some French fries. I'm gonna
What,
get
you
me
got a landfill there? So all you ever do is think about eating. You think about anything
soft
else?
drinks.
Pop.
They even found time during a quote-unquote fight scene to throw in the chirping birds after someone gets hit, like this. And there's a lot of shit that you need to understand does not make sense.
It really, there are so many things. I strongly recommend this movie if you're after something that is so bad it's awesome. It's not the kind of movie that is awesome in the way that you could, watch it repeatedly. It is kind of... There are some scenes that drag. Actually, I will give it one thing. There wasn't a lot of, heavy exposition in the film. There were a couple of moments where there was just, characters talking, giving, telling the audience what they needed to know, but that didn't happen till later in the film. So, they did that right. It was, it's definitely watchable, and it's definitely something you've got to see to believe it. So with my Trashy Treasure scale, I'm actually doing things a little bit differently. The higher the grade it gets means that it is a movie that's so completely awesome you could watch it 3 times a day, which I've got reserved for some other crap movies. But as it stands, I'm going to give Cool as Ice a 7 out of 10.
On the other hand, I've got to really pull out the big guns and been pretty merciless with it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Whoa!
Simply because everybody deserves to have something thrown at them after watching this film.
So I hope you've enjoyed the first Trashy Treasure review. We're going to have a lot more of these because I have a wealth of really bad movies that I absolutely love that I can't wait to get stuck into. So big thanks to my friend Justin for joining in on this one.
Tell us yours as well. Tell us yours. We want to know yours.
Give us some suggestions for some really bad movies that you'd love us to review, and we'll get stuck straight into that. And in the meantime, if you've seen Cool as Ice, if you love that movie and you just can't wait to talk about it, drop us some comments either here or on Facebook. All the social media links are in the description below, because we like to talk about movies and we would love to talk about movies with you. See you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.